whole diet. Of course, you won't go into lockout to get it drunk. Get like big boy tonight.
Hey all you cool cats and kittens, we're here at Big Cat Rescue and this is Zeus, and we are celebrating that right now the Ringling Circus is bringing the cats into the forum for their very last performance, and it will be over!
Oh God, that's good news.
So
You hear that, Zeus?
we were considering all going out drinking and really celebrating by painting the town red, but we have surgery Monday morning, so that was probably not a really good idea.
That's okay, we'll just feed cats.
I heard you already had a party with Tonga because it was his birthday.
Well, when I got in, Rebecca told me, she said, somebody on my keeper tour noticed that it was Tonga's birthday. I said, I have to make him a snow cone. He loves ground chuck, so I put it in a little cup. I make it shaped like a snow cone, and I took fajita meat and made a big T on the top of it for Tonga.
And he ate it all.
Oh, yeah.
And was sitting there waiting for more.
Yes. Well, he loves his ground beef, so. Oh, Lucy, I love you. I know I love you. Yes, I do. You hear that? No more circuses. How about that? That's the best news ever, huh? Oh, thank you very much for the shower. I gave you one, you gave me one.
It's a little bit different when Tiger shakes off and then your dog at home. That's a lot of fur to be slinging water.
Look at his fur.
He was swimming. Yeah, you're a good swimmer. Are we?
He ate all his dinner, 6 pounds, and then he ate a pound of thighs that Hoover didn't eat.
So I said he was swimming, but was he swimming or was he getting a shower from
He
you?
was getting a shower.
Oh.
Rebecca was giving him a shower.
I prefer showers to baths
Which
anyway.
was good, that she got him up and he was out here ready to eat when I came. So. And Rebecca and I were just talking about how he looked when he first came.
Oh, he did not have a belly.
How horribly skinny, but he still had the same great personality. He's our teddy bear tiger. He's very mellow. I know you'd still eat me, but you seem awfully sweet.
The fact that he can live next to Joseph says a lot about his personality.
Very much so. And
So
Amanda loves him. Joe, am I going to have to get the really big stick? Huh? Am I going to have to get the really long stick? What do you think? I know you're upset because he's not scared of you. He doesn't hear you. It's okay. All right? See if this one will reach. Yes, it will. Okay.
So I thought what we would do tonight is go around and visit all of the lions and tigers, because those are the ones usually used in circus acts. I know there have been some leopards and even an ocelot used in a circus act before, but typically it's lions and tigers that end up being recruited against their will into that deplorable trade.
It's over. I'm so happy.
Me too. The only sticks that get used around here are sticks with food on the end.
Exactly. Exactly. Hi, Joseph. You hear that? You hear that? You happy? Huh? Tonight's the last night. He's like, yeah, just give me my food. Lions are pretty selfish, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yes, he does have arthritis. He gets pain meds. These guys are in their late teens and early 20s, and typically at most other facilities they don't live past 10 or 12, so just the very fact that they can walk at all is a miracle. And it's because of people like Becky who make sure they get their meds every night, that they can be pain-free.
Sometimes we gotta do some acrobatics, but it's so worth it. Huh? Hi, Joseph.
And most of what she does at night is handing out pain meds,
Yeah.
but there's a few cats who actually eat their meal at night, and Joseph's one of them. And I guess he's one as well, right? Or does he get fed twice a
He
day?
gets fed twice a day when we try to get his eye drops, but he hasn't been wanting to go to lockout lately.
Can I come closer, Joseph? Are you going to be mad?
Oh, I heard a little grumble. I heard a little grumble from the lion boy.
Back up, mere mortal.
Eat some red, and then I'll put the rest on his tray. I haven't figured out why he won't eat the red off his tray.
That is so weird.
I'm thinking it's like he has a hard time picking it up. Is that good? Huh? Is that good?
Donna's asking how old Joseph is. 18?
I think he's 18.
And do you know off the top of your head how old Zeus is? Is it 19?
No, I don't.
I'm thinking he's 19 or 20.
20 though, or 21.
I think he's a little younger than Amanda, and Amanda's 21.
Okay, then he must be about 20 then. Amanda sure likes him though. We should have her come back from vacation early. They could have a little side by side.
That would start all the talk back here on Outback.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, Zeus is probably the only one who wouldn't be afraid of Joseph. Come on, just
Say
a couple
what?
more.
Not afraid of me.
Come on, Joseph Lion. Oh, look at you. What a handsome boy you are.
Well, thank you, Becky. We're going to go find some more tigers. Does that tiger want to come with us? Does that sweet tiger want to come?
Joseph, we'll put the rest of your lockout. Okay?
So across the street is the 2.5 acre vacation rotation enclosure, and currently the Texas tigers, Andre, Arthur, and Amanda, are out there on vacation. There is a live webcam over there in the corner that looks out over that beautiful area, and people are getting a real view tonight because I see Arthur, I think, is out over here, and I saw another tiger was out a minute ago. See if I can get you guys a better view of them. Usually they live in these cages over here. There's about 5 of them that are hooked together. They're about 1,800 square feet each, and those 3 cats share that space. Most of our tigers have at least 1,800 square feet, sometimes twice that, because they'll have 2 cages. Hello! Oh, it's Andre. Hello, Andre Tiger. You can tell it's Andre because he has a little notch out of his ear, thanks to his brother, Arthur, who bit him. Yeah, he bit your ear. Now you look like one of those feral cats that's been tipped by the vet. And I think that's Arthur out there. It's so far away, I can't tell. Maybe Amanda. Being kind of relaxed for Amanda, though. I think that's as far as I can zoom. Michelle, I don't even have 1,800 square feet. I'm always surprised. There's always somebody on these feeds who'll be like, their cages are so small. It's like, how could you possibly say that? You're looking at the cat and you're seeing like just what is in the camera window view. How could you possibly say those cages are small? But I absolutely agree. They don't belong in cages. And I think that's why I am so happy that tonight is the last night that the Ringling Brothers Circus is going to be performing, because I think it marks a change in the way people think about animals. It shows me, in fact, many, many years ago, I sat in the parking lot here at Big Cat Rescue with Kenneth Feld, the owner of Ringling Brothers, and he said, when people don't want to see big cats in circus acts, I won't have big cats in circus acts. And we finally reached a point where enough people don't want to see that kind of abuse that they said enough, we're done. And so I think that's like marking the beginning of so much good stuff that's going to happen for these cats, because it shows me that people are speaking out They're voting with their wallets. They're voting for the people that represent them. They're calling their members of Congress. Hey, Duchess, I saw you were in the pool earlier. Yeah. And they're saying these animals should be protected in the wild. They don't belong in cages. And so I'm very, very excited about that. And so tonight, what I wanted to ask all of you guys to do, since we can't go out and have a drink on the town together, how about just lighting up our comment section here with photographs of you making the call of the wild, calling your member of Congress if you're a U.S. citizen, and asking them to co-sponsor the Big Cat Public Safety Act, because that's the very next step. The circus was our biggest opponent in trying to ban the private possession of these animals, because they have to deal with people who privately breed and discard cats. I read a book by a tiger tamer, a woman, who said that for every one performing lion or tiger you see in the circus, 50 of them were discarded because they wouldn't. And so the reason I think that Feld Entertainment was such a huge donor to so many members of Congress was to ensure that bills like ours would not get passed, because they rely on getting their animals from those kinds of horrible backyard breeders. And so that's my opinion anyway. So that's another reason why I really think our bill can pass now, is because Ringling doesn't have a dog in that fight, for lack of a worse cliche. So what I'm hoping all of you guys will do is call your member of Congress, ask them to co-sponsor the Big Cat Public Safety Act, that's HR 1818, and I think we can do it now. I think we can finally do it after this is going to be, what, our fourth session of trying, and most of these laws take 6 years to pass, so I'm not discouraged at all that it's taken this long, and I'm really encouraged that now the circus is no longer going to be performing with these cats, and I think that means that they won't be fighting us so hard in Congress anymore. They won't be making bigger donations to legislators than we can make. And so I think it's finally going to mark the beginning of the end of the abuse that these exotic cats face all around this country. And if you're not a U.S. citizen and you still want to help, then just post a picture of you smiling on our comment section. When I get back to my desk, I want to see every one of you. I want to see your smiling faces about how happy you are that the circus is finally shutting down. And you know, I wanted to do this because I was really, really happy about the fact that it's happening, and yet it was almost like bittersweet, because I just want to cry. I mean, here those cats are going out into the ring for the last time, and not that that's sad at all, but the fact that I believe the way that they're trained is through being beaten and deprived of food and water and shocked. We know that these things have happened with a lot of the different trainers that end up being used in different circus acts. And what hurts my heart is knowing that for hundreds of years, tens of thousands of magnificent cats, just like Cameron there, and Zabu, and Zeus, and Nikita, and Hoover, and all the wonderful cats here, cats just like them, have been ripped from their moms, beaten, coerced, forced to live in horrible situations, kept in tiny rolling transports, and it's finally over. Oh my God, it's over. Hallelujah. Yeah, I know everybody's asking, where are the cats going? Where are the cats going? I wish I knew. And I think if Ringling were proud of where the cats were going, they would tell you, but they're not telling anybody. And they have had all of the really good sanctuaries reach out to them They've had the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries reach out to them and say, we have space, we have loving homes for these animals for the rest of their lives, and nobody's talking about where those cats are going. They could very well end up being sourced out to other little nasty roadside zoos and circuses. And that's horrible for those cats. There's probably a dozen or so cats that we're talking about. But the bigger picture is that it's stopping now. There won't be any more cats that are going to be sourced out to Ringling Brothers and used that way. That's the victory. That's what we have to keep our eye on. There's a petition out there right now. The Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries posted it, and I reposted it on our page, so you can scroll down the page and find it, or maybe somebody here can find the link. Trying to get together 150,000 signatures to ask Ringling to send the cats to a decent facility and not to some hellhole. There's no way of knowing what Ringling will do. I really hope they do the right thing, but it just doesn't bode well that they've been so quiet about it. They love your pink tongue, Cameron. Okay, well, if you're going to sleep, we're going to find more tigers. So the goal is to try and see every lion and tiger on the property before I run out of battery. Yes, Karen, if you have the link to that petition that the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries posted for the signatures, that would be lovely if you would post that. No cat who was born in captivity can be released to the wild, so that's why none of the cats here can go back to the wild, and that's why none of the cats from the circus can ever go to the wild. There's a whole page on all of the reasons. There's legal reasons, there's reality reasons about they weren't raised by their moms, they don't know how to hunt. There's no place that will allow them to be released because they've been handled by people. I mean, all those kinds of things. But all of that is detailed at bigcatrescue.org/go-free. bigcatrescue.org/go-free. It explains why they can't go free. Kali! The circus is ending! The circus is ending! Yes! You gonna get up and celebrate for that? See, the snack cart already came by. Matthew, thank you for posting that link. And thank you for the compliments on Tiger Lake. Boy, was that a project. I still haven't gone back to see how long it actually took us or how much money. But I'm thinking it was like 2.5 weeks. And if I had to guess off the top of my head, I'd say we probably brought that project in for under 25 grand. Which is a ton of money, but it really needed doing. And I'm so glad that it's done, because we built it all in stainless steel, so we're never going to have to do it again. Oh, while I'm walking over to Hoover, check this out. This is my cubtruth.com shirt, and it's a barcode with tiger stripes, and it says, "No tiger should be treated like a number." I read that backwards. So, this shirt is available at catrescue.biz. It was designed by a lovely woman who works at a PR firm who donates all their services to us, and they are the ones, if you guys have seen that great video called "Would You Still Do It?" They're the ones who did that. They are really, really clever. I'm sorry, Hoover, I don't mean to zoom in on that part of you. We've had to look at that enough with your surgeries. There's Hoover sleeping. Bad thing about waiting until 7 p.m. I wanted to wait till 7 because that's when the Circus Act begins in New York. And at 9 o'clock there's going to be a lot of people online celebrating, and probably a lot of people in person that are celebrating. Hey Jasmine. But I won't still be awake at 9 o'clock, and it'll be too dark for you guys to see the cats. So I thought I would come out that last time that those cats have to be terrified and celebrate that it's the last time they have to be terrified. At least in that circus, and hopefully in any other circus. I don't think the smaller circuses will continue to use wild animals after Ringling stops. Ringling, I feel like, has always been the shield that they enjoyed, because with Ringling being so politically active, it made it possible for that to be considered an acceptable thing, even though so many other countries have already banned circus acts that use wild animals. So I think once Ringling says, you know what, we've grown up, we've become enlightened, we've moved on, then I think it's going to make it a whole lot harder for those other really horrible places to continue to operate circuses. I'm sorry, Keisha. Come right to your cage and cough in your face. I've been doing renovations at my house, and man, oh man, what a mess. I've seen the backside of furniture and the underside of furniture that I haven't seen. Oh my goodness, I missed a lot of comments there. I just realized that. Oh, yes, now you can relax. Your friends won't be used in the circus anymore. Does that make you very happy? That makes me happy. Thank you, Kimberly. We hate that they have to be in cages, and our goal is a day when all of these cages sit empty and cats are being protected in the wild and people are not doing the kinds of things that cause these cats to need to be rescued in the first place. And this tonight, this ending of Ringling Circus, is such a huge step in that right direction. Looks like I'm seeing tiger butts everywhere I go. This is TJ. TJ! That's not your best side, sir. There's Gabrielle. Pretty Gabrielle. If I miss your question, don't be shy. You can post it again. I'm having to switch my attention from making sure I don't get too close to a cat. Hi! And opening and shutting gates. Yeah. Are you happy? Are you happy? Yes, are you very happy? No more cats in the circus? I love that idea. I love it bunches. Makes you want to chuff. Things that make you want to go chuff. If you go to bigcatrescue.org and type in the search bar, who names the cats, we have a page on that. It's probably who-names-cats, but I don't know that for sure. So many people ask us that, and the short answer is, if they have a name when they come here, we try to keep it, and if we know it, hi. And if they don't, then some cats have been named by my daughter, some have been named by our volunteers, we've had contests to name them. Somebody's been slobbering. Jessica Gabrielle is a female, and she is a tiny little tiger. You're the teeniest, tiniest little tiger, aren't you? Yeah. Carl, I think she's 20. All of our cats' biographies are online. If you go to bigcatrescue.org/catbio, cat bio, you'll see a link to all of the cats, and it will have their birthday. Hey, handsome. I love how when you see tigers' little mouths, they always, when they're turned up like that, they always look like they're smiling. Hey, smiley tiger. You're close. They're called flashes. Flashers are what you have on your car. Flashes are what tigers have on their ears. Flashers in the 70s were people that ran around naked. I know, it's just like your cat at home. They sleep in these weird positions. If I step outside the gate here, maybe we can see the ages of these cats. Where's your sign, Gabrielle? TJ was born in 1999. And he's one of our younger tigers. Lee, I have had rain! I've had wonderful, glorious rain. I don't think we had any today, but we had it yesterday, and we had a lot of it. It was glorious. I'm so happy. I know some people are just getting hammered with rain, and I feel for you because, man, that's hard to deal with when you get too much. But we have not had enough for the last 2 years, and everything is dying. The plants, not the animals. You can see the cages are just barren looking, and usually by this time they are full of greenery. So I'm very happy the last couple days to, I forgot to look at her sign. Gabrielle was born in 1997, so she's 20. I've always said you could give a tour out here if you knew 3 things. How old is he? How fast can he run? And how much does he eat? Seems like that's the only thing people want to know. How old? How much can he eat? And how fast can he run? And my answer to how fast can he run is faster than you. As far as how much can they eat, depends on the cat. Where's Miss Priya? Most of our tigers eat 7 to 10 pounds a day. Percentage-wise, though, a bobcat eats a lot more, but bobcats are a lot more active. Lions and tigers sleep all day. Yeah, you're just sleepy, sleepy cats. This is Miss Priya. Hello, did I wake you up? Hey, sugar. Oh, stretch. Wow. Wow. You're another tiny tiger, aren't you? Just a little one. I'm just a little tiger. Hardly bigger than a leopard. Oh, there's Andy, in case we don't see him later. Andy, tomorrow, is losing those puppies on the back end of him there. Yeah, he's getting neutered. And we'll do diagnostics on him. Blood work, x-rays, all that good stuff. Check out his teeth, as you guys all came here with horrible teeth because they were pulled from their moms to be used as photo props. And unfortunately, when they do that, they put them on goat's milk or puppy milk replacer, or sometimes even kitten milk replacer. And that's not good enough for a tiger. They need tiger milk. They need their mama's milk. So they end up with a lot of metabolic bone disease, really paper shell bones and teeth, nasty broken teeth by the time they get to be this age. And all because people want to have their picture made with a cub. There was a lady here today, and she wanted to pet a cat. And the keeper said, no, we don't touch the cats here. You can't touch the cats. And she's like, I'll do anything. Just please, please, please let me touch a cat. And I just got to touch an animal while you're here. And the keeper was out feeding, and she had a chicken that it was dead, but it still had the feathers on it in the back of the cart, because Cameron likes his chickens with the feathers on for some reason. So she said, I have a chicken in the back of the cart here. You want to pet that? I thought that was just perfect, because lady, it's not about you and what you want to do. These cats don't want grubby humans getting their paws all over their glorious coats. I'm too good for that. I'm too cool for petting. Yes. I know. It's like, Lauren, there's like, there's at least one a week that you come across and you're just like, where were you born and raised that you think it's okay to pet a cub or a cat? She is cute. She's so chubby. She's so chubby as you are. Oof. All right, we're gonna go see Andy. If we can find Andy. Just did a drive-by. Oh, there he is. Are you snoozing already? Is it a snoozy Andy? I don't know how we're going to catch him in the morning. I seriously doubt that he's going to walk into a transport, because it wasn't that long ago that he was loaded into a transport and driven across country to come here. And even though it turned out to be good in the end, he's probably not going to associate getting in a transport with anything good. So we will try that first. And if that doesn't work, then we'll have to sedate him in his cage. But that's always a lot harder, because then we have to carry him out. And man, if you guys have ever seen us try to carry a tiger through our safety entrances, that's a challenge. Christina, I didn't hear the question, but it sounds like what you might be answering is, why do we neuter them? And the reason that we neuter the cats is for a couple of reasons. One, we absolutely do not do any breeding here, but most of our cats live alone. Cats are solitary by nature, and about the only time you ever see them in groups is at the circus, which is ending tonight. Or sometimes you'll see them in little roadside zoos. They'll put cats in together because people are primates and they're social, and they want to see other animals in groups, or even worse yet, in stupid groups like of bears and tigers. But cats don't like that. They're solitary. They don't want to share space. The only time they live in groups is like when it's a family that they grew up with. And that's the case with the Texas tigers. That's why they live together, because they're a family who grew up together. But as far as for health reasons, a lot of times the females will end up with pyrometrias and cancers and all kinds of stuff from being bred so much. And by taking out all of that stuff, keeps it from getting cancerous at a later date. And with the males, there's just no reason for them to constantly be pacing around and calling to the girls and wanting something that they're never going to get. It's just teasing them, not to fix them. So once they're fixed, they're always a lot happier. Speaking of happy, you look happy. Jasmine looks happy. Silly girl. And a lot of times when the females are in heat, they won't eat, and neither will the males, because that's all they can think about. Hey, Sapphire. That's all the males can think about is the girls. So once you neuter them, that's not an issue anymore, and they can just relax and eat, sleep, and be happy, or as happy as you can be in a cage. All right, so that's all the lions and tigers except for her royal lioness, Nikita. Let's head on over to Nikita lion. I didn't see Zabu earlier, so maybe on the way back out we'll find Zabu. Oh, you know who? Seth. We haven't seen Seth either. So for all of you who made the call of the wild today, thank you so much. I saw that we are up to like over 700 people have made the call of the wild just since the last day of March, which is, it's like record breaking. It's world phenomenal. It's amazing. So many people are making that call, and it's because we make it so easy at bigcatact.com. It couldn't be any simpler. You just put in your contact information. If you live in the United States, it will dial the number for you of your member of Congress, and as soon as somebody picks up the phone, or like right now it's the weekend, so you're going to get an answering machine, but as soon as the answering machine picks up, all you have to say is, please ask your boss to co-sponsor the Big Cat Public Safety Act, HR 1818, and you are done. You've made the call of the wild. And a lot of people are making that call every week. I really appreciate that. We've got to keep the pressure on now that the circus is closing to finally bring an end to these animals being bred for backyards and basements. If there's anybody, thank you, Matthew, if there's anybody on this live feed who doesn't know what we're talking about, has never been here before, Nikita is a perfect example of why we need this bill. She was kept chained to the wall of a crack house on a concrete slab. She had horrible swellings on her elbows from being chained that way. And drug dealers like lions because they're cheaper than a purebred dog, and they can be pretty much handled until they're about a year, 2 years old, sometimes even older. But they're full grown by the time they're about a year and a half to 2 years old. So you got this 500-pound kitten on your hand. When drug enforcement gets there, they just turn the cats loose, and while the DEA is having to deal with the cats, usually killing them, the drug dealers are getting out the back door with the drugs and the money. And thankfully, in Nikita's case, they called the zoo, the Nashville Zoo at Grassmere, and they came and tranquilized her instead of killing her. And then they called us, because the zoos don't want these cast-off animals. They want to be breeding more cubs for people to come see, because people will stupidly still go pay to see baby big cats in zoos, and so as long as people will pay to do that, there is a huge incentive for zoos to constantly breed them, and they only can get away with it under the guise of it being for conservation, and so they can't breed these non-pedigreed cats like Nikita. So they called us and said they were going to euthanize her if we didn't take her, and we took her, and she has been here for many, many years now. She has her own webcam. She has her own web following. She has her own t-shirts. She has a lot of love. I see lots of hearts coming across the screen for you, Nikita. And Matthew, thank you for posting the link to Nikita's webcam. Donna, you are correct. All hail the Queen. Yeah, I know I'm going to get some hate mail about people that are like, zoos are good, zoos are saving animals, zoos spend money on conservation. Well, they do, but it is well, that latter part, they may spend some money on conservation, but it is such a minuscule amount of their bottom line that they donate to those things, and it's, I believe, just so that they can say that they do. and make people think that it's okay to come pay see an animal in a cage. Percentage-wise, Big Cat Rescue donates a lot more to actual conservation in the wild than any zoo I know of. Are you teaching yoga back there? Is it a yoga lion? Can you guys hear those frogs in the background? Those are rain frogs because we had rain. I'm so happy we had rain. Lauren, thank you for posting that link to all of our webcams. I agree. We do need a different approach for conservation, because the very notion of saying that we're keeping animals in cages so that we protect them from extinction, that sends the message that we don't really need to take care of them in the wild because we have them in cages. And having them in cages is not protecting the entire ecosystem. The whole purpose of protecting them is so that we all get to live on this planet. We all have air to breathe, and we're not going to have that if we don't have any forests. And it's a lot easier to get people to protect a forest full of big, beautiful, charismatic animals like Nikita. Well, she's not really a forest animal, but a lot of the other cats are. It's a lot easier to get people to protect forests because of the wealth of these just unbelievably beautiful animals and creatures that all depend on the forest for their existence. It's hard to get people excited about saving the forest because it's a tree. I personally like trees, but you get my drift. So when a zoo says we're protecting these animals by breeding them for life in cages, that just doesn't ring true, because they don't want to be in cages. The cats would never choose that if they had a choice. All you have to do to prove that is to open the door. They'll walk out and never come back, and I am not suggesting anybody do that, because they would get shot. That would be terrible. Well, if she's going to turn her back on us, I guess we will go find Seth and then see if we can find Zabu before I run out of light. Well, it is my great privilege to bring these cats to you, Candace. I hate that they have to be here. I wish that there were some way for them to go free, but that's just not an option. But we can do the very next best thing, and that's to stop the breeding of these animals so that more of them don't end up in prison. Because prison is all it is, and that's all that they ever have to look forward to once they've been born in a cage. Bye, Priya. You're such a pretty girl. Good night, Gabrielle. This cooler air making you feel all frisky. Are you all frisky? See, TJ finally has his head up. Beautiful Keisha. There's Sapphire. Some of the cats I did not focus in on because they are in the witness protection program, so I can't focus in on them until the case is over. Passing the Big Cat Public Safety Act would mean that there would never be a chance of those cats ending up back in those horrible conditions that they came from. Just one more reason to call your member of Congress and ask them to co-sponsor the Big Cat Public Safety Act. All right. Now to find Seth. Oh, I see Seth. Pardon?
Did you talk to all the lions?
I did. TJ's got his head up. Have you fed him yet?
No.
His head is up.
I've got TJ and Cameron, and I had to wait until they were done with Tonga's cage because I have Kelowna and Dryden's afternoon snacks, and I have Banshees because Banshee hasn't eaten.
Oh, they would not want to eat with all those people raking.
Oh, heck no. They're big chicken littles. Hi, Debbie.
Becky is our night shift. She's always here till dark or later. Here's the new catwalk. Big enough for wheelchairs. I'm very excited. Hi, Seth. So there's Seth at Tiger Lake. Whoa, dear. Sorry, buddy. I whack-a-doodled my camera there. Wonder if I can stand this up so I'm not having to hold it still. No, it wants me to hold it. He's got a couple of favorite spots in there, and both of them really show him off to his most glorious advantage. Thank you, Phyllis. I'm very, very happy with the catwalk. It was built primarily by Victor and my brother Chuck and Josh and Scott and Jamie. Even Dr. Justin came out and worked on it. Some of the volunteers came out and helped with it. Libby, thank you for posting Seth's link there. You're moving your face where I can't quite see it. Seth, are you celebrating that it's the end of the Ringling Circus? No more tigers in that circus? No more? Never again? End of an era. Linda, we move the cats around, and sometimes we have to do that whenever they have to be seen for some medical purpose because some of the cats had horrible lives before they came here and were confined in very small spaces and are afraid to get into the transport trailer. So most of our tiger cages and lion cages all hook to the vacation rotation enclosure, and Hoover can go out there into that 2.5 acre spot, which is bigger than this area that Seth's in. And it has a pond and dens and trees and all kinds of stuff. So most of the cats can go to and from vacation without ever having to go in a transport trailer. But these two cages over here are on the far side of the sanctuary, and it's too far for any tunnels currently. I don't know how we'd build a tunnel around this lake. I'd have to maybe do an understory of the catwalk. But at any rate, it's too far away, so we have to take advantage of anybody who's having surgery. If they're either like Seth or Andy getting neutered, he will wake up in the cage over there. Sorry, I got it zoomed in too far. Andy will wake up in there tomorrow, so he'll have that space. And he and Seth know each other, so they should be okay being close to each other. There's a double wall between them, so there's no chance of having an ear or a tail or anything ripped off. And so we try to rotate them and make it as fair as we possibly can. I know everybody's got their favorite tiger that they want to have this space. We only have 2 of those ginormous enclosures on the lake. That sounds to me like a tiger calling. It doesn't sound like your typical lion roar. I'm not sure who that might be. I got the cutest picture today. Hey, Marianne. Of Thurston and Lovey, they're a couple of bobcats, and they were sleeping together on top of one of the platforms, as bobcats love to do. And Thurston had his paw draped over Lovey's shoulder, and it was just the cutest picture. I'm going to give it to Luana, and maybe she'll post it in the updates tomorrow. Lori, TJ is not going back to the water because he is very, very difficult to feed. He's just so skinny, and he will not get up and come over for regular meals, and so the only way we can feed him is have him in a cage where we can actually reach him with one of those ridiculously long sticks and put the food right in his face so that he will eat. So I think we can all agree it's better that he eat than swim. Both of those lakeside cages, Tiger Lake cages, are so big and have areas that the cats can get to that the keepers just cannot get anywhere close enough to them to get them fed. There's Zabu. This is adorable, but not quite as adorable as Lovey and Thurston were. They got you guys topped for today. Susan, TJ does not have a pool in his enclosure, but we are working on a tunnel system where we can move the cats back and forth across that path to places where there are pools. But TJ had gotten to the point where he wasn't using the lake. That day that he came down and swam with Seth, I think the only reason he came down there was because he was interested in Seth. But aside from that, he hadn't been getting in the water much at all. Yes, Donna, it is Cambu. The birthday boo. Yes. Yes, indeedy. What was that, yesterday? And Shondi, if you're there, I got those back scratchers. Thank you very much. We don't touch the cats here, but some of the cats need help with their grooming because they're so old. So we use those telescoping back scratchers, which I have on my cart. They're really cool. That kind. They're called the bear claw. And it's like a... See how it telescopes out? It's like your, if you remember radios in cars used to have those antennas that would pull up and down. It's like that. TJ is eating better now that he's in that smaller cage where they can actually get to him. And he seems to really, really like having Gabrielle on one side and Keisha on the other, and even though he's been fixed, he still just seems to prefer having girlfriends next door instead of boyfriends. Sweetest personality of the tigers. I think it really depends on who the person is as to who is the sweetest. Like some cats are sweeter to one keeper than they are to another. Sapphire adores Afton, and Amanda really likes Gail. And they have lots of people that they like, but those are the ones that come to my mind of cats that are just like, they melt like butter when they're around those two people. Pam, are you talking about the trainers of the cats from Ringling? And it's just been really obscured in the news. It seems like Ringling is not talking about where their cats are going. And even though we know that the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries has reached out to them and said we have plenty of spaces in really good sanctuaries, they're not responding. And that seems terribly suspicious to me. If they were proud of where they were planning on sending the cats, I think that they would be all over the news about it, because everybody is asking, what about the cats? Where are the cats going? And for them to ignore that question, or just say sanctuaries, knowing full well that there's all kinds of nasty places that have the word sanctuary in their name and are nothing like a sanctuary. Yeah, we were talking earlier about the public's desire to see weird groupings of animals, and we would never have put a lion and a tiger together, but these guys came here that way, and they had been bonded together since they were cubs. We separated them as soon as they got here until we were able to fix them, and then because they were really skinny and not healthy, but once they were strong enough to get fixed, we put them back together because Cameron was about to lose his mind not being able to be with Zabu. Zabu didn't care so much. She could take it or leave it, but Cameron really adores her. Thank you, Virginia. I think that was Joseph I heard in the background. Larry, it's very possible that the trainers own the cats. I know years ago, Ringling did not own cats anymore. Back as far back as the year 2000, I think, was when they stopped owning cats, or maybe 2003. Looking to make sure I'm not blocking the road here, because I see a cart coming. So what they would do is they would hire acts that had the cats. But I just read an article this morning.
Are you ready to eat now?
Ooh, we might get to see some feeding. He looks like he's interested. I read an article this morning that made me want to puke, talking about how wonderful this circus family was. Give me a freaking break. But saying that as soon as the performance was over, that he was never going to see the cats again because they were going to a, quote, sanctuary. Well, that made it sound like they were giving them up. So who knows? Media can't get the stories right half the time anyway. There's been so many times. We've been in the press over 1,200 times, I think. And I think there's been like 3 times that they actually got all the facts right. And there's been so many times where lazy reporters would ask us to write the article for them, which we did, and gave it to them with pictures and everything. So all they had to do was cut and paste it. And they would change a sentence or two and get it wrong. It was like anything that they added would be wrong. Well, as you can imagine, we really hope that those cats will find decent homes. But I'm not about to let that take away from the fact that it's finally over and more cats aren't being bred for that purpose. So as horrible as their lives may continue to be, there won't be more of them bred to suffer. And that wasn't going to change until the circus shut down. And tonight is the night that the circus is shutting down. Are you happy? You smile all the time, huh? Yeah, that's because white tigers are so inbred. She had a hair lip that makes her look like she's smiling all the time. Oh, now he's ignoring her. You haven't been ignored until you've been ignored by a lion. Are you beautiful? You're just beautiful. She said, "Oh, wow, I would eat it. I would have that." Cynthia, to my knowledge, the news is not saying where they're being placed. If somebody knows different, let me know. I have not heard a name yet. Laurel, the entire circus is shutting down. We would have been happy for them just to stop using wild animals, and specifically just to stop using cats, but they decided to close the whole thing down, which was a shock to all of us. We had no idea that they would do that. They could have always done a Cirque du Soleil type thing, but maybe they just didn't have any talented people that could do anything other than push big cats around. Jennifer, they keep trying until they run out of daylight. And if that doesn't work, then they'll start again in the morning. Some of the cats they feed several times a day because they just won't eat much.
Boo-boo. Boo-boo, I'm going to leave you separated, okay? Because I got to go feed TJ. But I'll be back. I won't forget you.
Alright, I am going to call it a night. I understand there are some virtual parties going on online, so if you go to Facebook and look for Toast Closing of the Circus, I am sure that you will find some other places that are celebrating as well. Grace said some of them are going to Europe. I know they got that one family that came and testified against the circus ban in New York. That guy was a piece of work. I really hate to think about them going there. It's just so suspicious that they're not saying where these sanctuaries are. If it was a good place, they'd be bragging about it. Alright, well, she's going to be left over here so that when Becky comes back, she might stand a better chance of catching Cameron away from Zabu. Not that Zabu would steal his food, but she just might get too close and he could get really cranky with her, and that would be terrible. So as soon as Becky either gets him to eat or gives up, she will let these guys back together for the night. But again, I want to thank everybody who made the call of the wild, everybody who protested the circus, everybody who wrote letters asking cities and counties and fairs to stop allowing the circus to come there. Thank you, everyone. Your hard work has paid off, and my heart goes out to the cats that were being exploited that way. But I am so very happy that no more cats will be bred for the Ringling Circus. Thank you very, very much. I love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow.